So Nintendo had just wrapped up their developer conference or their game conference, and they announced the Nintendo Switch 2, which debuts at an eye-watering price of $450 just for the console. Now, I'll give them credit and say that there was a huge improvement from the last version, but this price was also quite shocking and it's really expensive. Although I'm not really sure what the last console price was, but having this handheld console go toe-to-toe with a fully realized console like the PS5 for the same price of $400 is pretty insane, considering the processing power of the Nintendo Switch 2 does not even tickle the PS5 processing power, as it's a huge night and day difference. And you could see that from the last Nintendo Switch, which also came out with the PS4 in around 2013 there, and you can see the huge difference in the graphics. So having Nintendo release this console in the launch period of the PS5 and the Xbox, it's pretty insane, as I'm sure despite the jump it's not going to be a one-to-one comparison, and the price should actually reflect that, but it actually gets worse. The games for the Nintendo Switch 2 debut at an eye-watering $80, which is pretty insane. Nintendo have shown a huge amount of greed with this new release, and it's pretty insane to see, as their launch titles like the Switch 2's Mario Kart World releasing on June 5th will cost $80, and some other ones will still retain the $70. So it's pretty insane to see this huge jump to $80, especially for a launch title. It's really insane. But it actually gets worse, as even despite all of this, it sets a bad precedent, because if game titles can scratch the $80 mark, it means other game companies will also just hike up their prices too to match it, which actually started from a long time ago, as people were pushing around rumors that GTA 6 will cost $100, and people were debating, if GTA 6 becomes $100, will you buy it? And most people were against it and say they will just resort to piracy, because that price is indeed crazy. No matter the seller, no matter the product, it's really insane to imagine that you're buying a game for $100. Now, I'm actually going to give my own take on this and say that I've actually been part of this. I'm going to give a brief story of mine. I remember back when Infamous Second Son came out in 2014, and I'm sure the games were like $60. When it came here into the country, it reached a peak of over $100 due to taxation and people just wanting a huge hit of profit. So it's pretty insane, and I didn't even buy the game. I really wanted to buy it, but I didn't buy it because I saw it was expensive and I just resorted to something else. So to imagine that scenario will become the new normal, especially today, that you're going to be paying $100 is something I really don't want to think about. Be it GTA 6, GTA 7, it doesn't really matter. Now, back on Nintendo. I said previously that the Nintendo Switch 1 was not a good console, especially with the graphics, and it was beaten really hard, even by the PS3 if possible. So for the Nintendo Switch 2, there was actually a huge improvement. The graphics were better, the performance is debatably better. It's not really a huge leap, and yeah, it's really insane to think about that despite the low jump and the tiny improvements, which are like quality of life updates, it's really expensive, and the games are also really expensive. And what's even funnier, Nintendo have this introduction game like Astrobot for the PS5, but now for this, oh sorry, not Astrobot, it was this Astro game. It was this Astro game for the PS5, which shows you how to use the console, the controller, showing you the different features, and it came free with the PS5. But Nintendo now have their own game which shows you how the Switch 2 will work, but they locked it behind a paywall, which is pretty insane to think about. I'm going to put the price here, but it's actually pretty insane that even the introductory game, you're locking it behind a paywall for someone to just buy. And yeah, with that, it's a pretty crazy release. I'm not sure what Nintendo wants, but I know their fans are really dedicated, and despite asking for the drop in price,
Nintendo Treehouse is going on right now. I wonder what the chat's like. Drop the prices, 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 drop.
I think some will just fold and just pay for it, which is really bad, as people need to learn to vote with your wallet. If you keep letting these companies get away with it, it will just keep happening and happening. I mean, just look at Sony. Sony also came out with their own insane launch of the PlayStation Portal at an eye-watering $200, which is basically the price for a phone. The thing does not have any processing power. It's just a screen with a controller attached to it. Like, you literally cannot play the game if you're not near a PS5, which I find pretty insane. And for Sony to come out with that when people have been asking for the PS Vita or a PSP revival, it's a huge slap in the face, really. And I don't know what you're aiming for. I don't know what they want. And it's pretty insane that that was not the only launch that was expensive. There was also the earphones, the headphones, and it was really, really expensive. So to see Nintendo going down that path, it's really sad to see. And I know the fans will just pay for it. I mean, you can, it's your money. But it's just a bad example. And if gamers keep taking it, if they keep accepting this as the new normal, then it will become the new normal, and you won't have anything to debate. You'll be buying your games at $100, your consoles at $500, despite being with the processing power of a toaster, and you'll just accept it. It will be our new future. Gaming will be expensive. Gaming companies will be obsolete. Games will not be easily accessible, as they're even doing away with the physical media, and you have Nintendo giving out game cartridges with codes on them, which doesn't make any sense. Like, gaming is really going on a downward trend, and it's sad to see another player just go down this path, and more are coming to follow, more and more. Sony went down that path, they're still going. Nintendo has now joined them, so now we're just waiting for Xbox. I hope they hold their ground on their values as they try to protect the gamer and the gaming scene, and just give the gamers what they really want, not to make it expensive, not to make it obsolete with the media, and to just make it affordable, accessible, and most importantly, fun to play. Nintendo has now gone down a dark path, and I'm sure it just gets worse, as they've also just pulled the pre-orders due to the new tariffs. So even that $450 price will go up, and possibly even beat out the PS5, because they have not factored in the new taxes, the new tariffs. Sorry, they are not taxes, they're called tariffs, and they are paid by the governments, the foreign countries, which is a lie. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty insane that we're going to get a $600 console probably, and it's sad to think about. I'm not a Nintendo fan. I like PlayStation, so I'm sure the Nintendo fans are going down a moment that I also had, that you realize that Sony isn't what it used to be, and things are getting really insane. And I hope Sony doesn't increase the prices, which I'm sure they will when GTA 6 comes out. And if it is $100, things are going to get really bad for everyone, and really, really soon. I really don't want that, but I hope things go well. I hope we all just have fun, make gaming great again. And with that, thank you for watching. You can check this video here. YouTube suggested it to you, and they know it's a great fit for you. With that, thank you for watching. Goodbye.